So let's take a look at another way to do arithmetic in bash. So we are going to look at the let command, and if I do a type let, it's going to let me know that this is a shell built-in command in the bash shell interpreter. Okay, so it's going to allow us to do pretty much the same thing that we did with exp. The syntax is obviously a little bit different. Also, instead of just displaying the result on the screen, when I do something like let n is assigned 3 times 5, okay, you see nothing goes on the screen. But it did assign the result of the computation to a variable. So if I did an echo $n, I'm getting 15, which is a result of 3 times 5, okay? So the first thing you're going to notice is that this time I'm writing my expression without spacing between operators and operand, unlike with exp, okay? If I was trying to add the spacing, that would not work, so I need to condense everything like that, but we're going to see we can get over that with a little bit of quoting, okay? But more important than that, the let tool allows me to do things that are a little bit more interesting. So for example, exponentiation, I can elevate 3 to the power 5, so I do this and then I echo n, I get 243. I can also take n and increment it using the plus plus notation. So now from 243 I went to 244, and I can obviously use also the post decrement notation, and I'm going back to 243. So there are other operators that are available as well, like shortcut assignment operators such as n plus equal. Okay, so I can do n plus equal 6, and as you would expect, that means I assign to the variable n the result of adding 6 to the current content of the variable n. So it's going to give me 249, okay? And there are all sorts of shortcut operators defined for the 4-base arithmetic operation, okay? So I can do minus equal, I can do times equal, there we go, and I can do divided equal, okay? There we go. I can also use the modulo operator. So I can do something like let n equal 6 modulo 5, okay? And this is going to tell me the remainder of the integer division of 6 by 5 is 1, okay? So that supplements the integer division operator that we already looked at, okay? What else? So I have all the basic operations that are available in exp, plus some more, okay? I can also escape the problems that we discussed about sooner. Like for example, if you have a file named 504, okay, if you're trying to do exp and you use 5 times 4, we saw in the previous video that the global expansion in the shell is going to consider that 5 star 4 in the context of my current working directory, which happens to have a file, it could be a folder, so named 504, well, that result in 5 times 4 being expanded to the name 504, and then x would just display that. With let, we don't have that problem. So if I do something like 5 star 4, and I do have a file named 504 in my folder, it's still going to compute the correct outcome. Okay, so I can display here 20, simply because, well, let is a built-in command, and let also performs actually arithmetic evaluation rather than expansion. So that globbing step is not going to interfere with how let is computing, you know, the result of the arithmetic expression based on what you typed on its command line. Okay, it's going to really interpret it correctly before any chance of globbing happen. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention here is that we can use actually double quoting to make our life a little easier. What I mean by that is if I want to, for example, have here let n equal 5 times 5, okay, I can introduce the spaces between the operands and the operator as long as I enclose the whole expression that I want let to evaluate between double quote. Okay, so it's not as constraining as I originally introduced it to be. You can have like a very easier to read human-friendly notation. You just have to make sure that you enclose your arithmetic expression between double quotes. The last thing I need to point out regarding the let syntax is when do you have to use a $sign in front of a variable name, when don't you have to? So the first thing to clarify is whenever you write something like let n equal 42, for example, okay? The n is the name of the variable to which you want to assign the value 42. So everything on the left side of the assignment operator, the equal operator, should be only the name of one variable to which you want to assign a value. Everything on the right-hand side should be whatever complex arithmetic expression you want that's going to yield a value, and that value will be assigned. So it makes sense to write n here without a $sign in front of it, because if you write $n, you know that the syntax in front of the name of a variable in bash means that you want to extract the value that this variable is storing. So right now, for example, n contains 42. If I write something like $n equal 43, it's kind of like I'm trying to assign, there we go, it even expands it and shows it in the error message. That means I want to, once I expand, you know, and I replace $n by what it means, which is a value contained inside of n, well, I'm writing 42 equal 43, which is attempting to assign a value to another value. It doesn't make sense. So every time you have a variable name on the left-hand side of an assignment operator, you're going to just have the variable name by itself, n. You're talking about the variable. Now, when you have a variable name occurring on the right-hand side of your assignment operator, for example, if I write result equals, n plus 1. So what I want to do here is I want to assign to a variable named result the value that is obtained by taking the value inside of n and adding 1 to it. So n right now is 42. If I write this and I do a quick echo, so just to double check, okay, echo $n first, and then echo $result, okay, so that worked. So I can use the same notation on the left and right hand side of the assignment operator, the notation without the $sign, okay? If I want to here, for example, put the $sign, and we're going to change that to make sure that it's evaluated, re-evaluated, okay? If I put $n plus 3, then when I display my result, I've added actually the content of variable n, which was 42. I've added 3 to it, that gives me 45, and that was assigned to the variable result. So in that case, you have the choice. On the right-hand side of your assignment operator, you can use the $sign in front of variable names, or you can omit it. Okay, no problem. Either way, that will work. The semantic is the same.